Hey guys, so today's story is going to be a little interesting. So I just want to start off by saying that this is not clickbait. I'm not one of those people that it's like, oh, the YouTuber tripped up the stairs, story time, I almost died. Like, this legitimately, every time I record a video, this cat is like, you know, I should use the litter box every time. Cat, why? Why you do this? Anyway, my cats might be a little crazy because they are like on kitty crack or something. I don't know. They got the kitty crazies and they're all mental. Which cats are supposed to be nocturnal, and it's actually daytime. So, I don't know. They're probably like, Mom's gonna record a video. Let's be as obnoxious as humanly possible. Anyway, so yeah. This story is intense and not clickbait. I definitely could have died if this did not get treated fast enough. And yeah, so this is the story of the time that I had Stevens-Johnson syndrome. I tried to do some research on some of the statistics on this, not a disorder, this thing, but everything that I found kind of didn't match up with the other stuff. I checked a bunch of websites and they all said different things. Like, one thing said that it's like very rare, less than 20,000 cases. One said less than 300 cases. One said like 10,000 people die annually. Like, none of it matched up, so that I don't have the hard facts for you on the statistics. So, sorry about that. Apparently they can't decide on anything. This happened September of 2016. Why are you eating stuff on the floor? Don't do that. Where did my cat get this? Oh, I think this is off your toy. Don't do that. Okay, so enough sidetracking. So in case you are unaware, Stevens-Johnson syndrome is an allergic reaction to a medication usually, and it can kill you. It's like a serious rash where basically your skin falls off and you die. So that's cool. It can cause permanent damage if you don't get it treated fast enough, aside from death. And yeah, it's not fun. It starts off with fever-like symptoms, and that's generally what a lot of things start off with. But to start this off, I was at the time on 8 different medications, so that alone is just asking for trouble. And I had a fever of 104.9 one night. And so I was like, that's dangerous. That's like, you gotta go to the hospital level, because I think at like 105, like that's when like some serious crap happens. So I was like, I should probably go to the hospital. The people that I lived with at the time were like, just take some Tylenol, go to bed, like just sleep it off. And Googled it, and 104.9, go to the hospital. Just go to the hospital. So I also have pictures to show you of these things. So here's a little picture of that. Fever of 104.9, I went to the emergency room and I brought all of my medications with me in a bag because I was like, this could be an allergic reaction. Not that I was expecting it to be Stevens-Johnson syndrome, but I've dealt with things in the past dealing with medication, and so my first thought was, things are going weird, bring my medication, this could be something from my medication. And I went to the hospital. I told them I think that it could be an allergic reaction. I have a picking disorder. I might get into that in a different video, long story about that. But basically I am covered in a lot of scars, so they were asking me like, do you do drugs? Like, are you on meth? And I said no. They didn't believe me. They did a bunch of drug tests. They hooked me up and gave me some fluids and brought my fever down and sent me home. So I'm assuming that their thought was just that I was having either like some kind of withdrawal symptoms or like, I don't frickin' know. But basically they didn't do anything. They brought my fever down, gave me a drug test, sent me home. So the next day, I wake up with a rash covering my entire body. More pictures. So I was like, ah, that's bad. So I went to the emergency room again. And I went and I said, okay, I was here last night with a fever of 104.9. They didn't really do anything. They just brought my fever down and sent me home. I think this could be an allergic reaction. Cat, don't eat my pants strings. And the doctor barely even like came in the room, and he's like, that's probably just a rash from how high your fever was. Like, just go home, rest, give it a few days. If it gets worse, you know, come back in. And I'm not feeling very satisfied with this because this was not a fun... What are you doing? Because this was not a fun rash to have. I mean, if you have ever had a rash in general, rashes aren't fun. This one is painful and horrid feeling. Just not good. And entire body. Like, you saw the pictures, like, this is not, like, just a little rash. So, I go home, and the next day I wake up and my rash is way worse. Like, if you thought that was bad, like, it gets worse. So, I'm like, I'm going back to the hospital because this isn't okay. And here's a couple pictures of, what are you doing, Kat? Here's a couple pictures of how my rash looked on the way to the emergency room for the third time. And basically, I went in and I'm like, okay, this is not a rash from a fever. There's something wrong. I didn't bring my medications this time because I'm just like, you guys don't, you're not listening. So finally someone acknowledges and pays attention, and they're like, okay, this might be something serious. And I'm like, you think? So they did a skin biopsy, which was the worst part of this entire thing. Whew. I will tell you right now, I have broken my arm and had to hold it like this for hours because I went to a bad doctor and they didn't really care that I was there at all. Hold it like this for hours, not a tail to set it on, not a cast, not a sling, not some wrap, nothing. Hold it like this for hours. And I would rather do that 10 times over than ever get a skin biopsy again in my life. But from my knowledge, all biopsies of every kind are very painful and suck. So don't do that. Well, I mean, obviously if you need a biopsy, that's a good thing, but I mean, like, they suck. Hope that you never need one. So I have a scar from that right here. You can't really tell it different from, oh man, but yeah, so I have a scar right there. Basically, they said that they were gonna have to put Novocaine into my arm. They just picked a spot right here, and then they were gonna take this little tool, and it's like a little pen thing, and they just twist all the way down into all the layers of my skin, and they test it. And so I'm like, okay. My problem with this, though, was this required needles, and I have a phobia of needles. I don't dislike needles. I don't hate needles. I am not fearful of needles. I have a phobia of needles. Like, if a doctor says needle, my heart rate shoots up and I start having a panic attack. Like, anytime that I need to have a needle put into my body, it usually requires weighted blankets, several nurses to hold me down, and complete hyperventilation, and a general massive panic attack. It sucks. I don't like it. People don't seem to understand just how severe the phobia is, and they treat it like I'm just a big baby, and, you know, at 24 years old, I just suck. But, so I am bracing myself. I am accepting the fact that this is what's about to happen. And for me, when it comes to needles, it's like the poke. The poke of it is the whole thing. I will, like, bawl my eyes out and freak out, and the second the needle goes into my skin, I'm like, okay, we're good, we're fine, everything's fine. Like, they can draw all the blood they want, I don't care, I'll watch them draw the blood. The blood doesn't bother me at all, none of that does. But it's the needle going in, and when it comes out, it's kind of like, but it's not, it's the needle piercing my skin that I got a problem with. But when they put the Novocaine into my arm, and let me tell you, this was not a fast process. There was a lot of Novocaine to go into my arm, and I thought, you know, initial poke, and then we're gonna be good. But then the doctor tells me that this is gonna hurt, And, you know, usually they tell you you're going to feel a little pinch, this is going to be a little uncomfortable, you know, you're going to be a little prick. So they play down how much things are going to hurt. So when they tell you this is going to hurt, you better brace yourself, because this is going to hurt. And it did. It's the most painful thing I've ever endured in my entire life. I would say that I might think that childbirth is like parallel with this, except, you know, childbirth lasts a lot longer and in the end is much more painful. But initially, I am pretty sure that they're on the same page. And so the needle goes into my skin, and they start injecting the Novocaine, and I scream. I literally cannot handle this pain. I am like, not like screaming like I'm just like ow, 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 like ow, like oh my god. And just do this twice. So this isn't fast. It's a lot of Novocaine. I think it's like that much Novocaine going into me. It made an actual bubble in my arm. Like there's a significant bubble in my skin from the Novocaine. And I thought, you know, okay, the first needle is done, and the second one, like, there's Novocaine in my arm, maybe this one won't hurt as bad. Boy, was I wrong. No, the second one hurt more. Oh my god. Oh my god. So I endure all of that, and through the second one, I'm literally like, it's nearing the end, and I'm like, I physically can't handle this pain anymore. I can't, ow, oh my god, I can't. And I'm like, I am ready to just like GTFO, like I can no longer handle this pain. And finally it's over, and I am both, you know, Novocaine in my arm, no feeling, it's doing what it's supposed to. But also through all the adrenaline and anxiety and panic that I just went through, like I'm just so dazed. I don't really remember the next 30 seconds. It did not take long. Like them taking the actual biopsy was like a quarter of the time it took for them to put the Novocaine in my arm. And I didn't even notice it. I don't even remember it really happening. I know I didn't look at it because I didn't really like the idea of, like, you know, let's exacto twist your skin out. But I did ask to see it when they put it in a little jar with a saline or whatever. I did ask to look at it. It was like if you were to take the eraser at the end of a pencil, like that exact shape, that exact size. That's about it. And then, you know, they stitched me up. I didn't feel that or look at that. I didn't want to look at that. I didn't feel that at all because Novocaine. And here's a picture of after that. And so they do the skin biopsy, and they come back and they tell me that this is Stevens-Johnson syndrome, and it has gone far enough that they needed to basically rush me to the cities, which if you are not from where I am from, that probably sounds really dumb, but what am I, Canadian? Pretty much. But basically, I live in the middle of nowhere. This entire state is the middle of nowhere, but all of the cities, all of the population that matters is all clustered into one area. Several cities all by each other, and that's called the cities. So that is where I went. And I was rushed down there in an ambulance because they didn't have the facility to properly care for how severe my symptoms have gotten, and I was put into the burn unit because that's the point that it got to. Keep in mind, if this isn't treated fast enough, you can die. And this was scary enough on its own because didn't really know what was going on, being rushed down to this place, and they don't provide a ride home. Don't know how the hell I'm gonna get home. I'm put into a burn unit. I'm not really told exactly what's going on yet. And in this burn unit, it's got a door and it has a curtain. And anybody who comes into the room needs to like gown up like they're about to be in the same room as someone with Ebola. And if I leave the room, I have to gown up like I'm about to be around someone with Ebola. And it was pretty scary, but the worst part of all of that was, the thing with Stevens-Johnson syndrome is it's not just a rash like on your arms and your legs and like everywhere. It does things that rashes don't usually do, like it gets on the palms of your hands and the bottoms of your feet, and that's not a normal thing, and that's not a good thing. It gets in your eyes, it gets in your genital region, it gets in your mouth and your throat, like bad. So they had specialists from each of these departments come and check all of the different parts of my body to make sure that it's not going in these places. I had a team of like optometrists, eye doctors, whatever, come in to look at my eyes. And when I say a team, I mean my bed was here and we've got a half circle of like 6 doctors all looking. I don't know if they had like a lot of new like people coming in, and so they were training a lot of people, if this is such a rare thing that they just wanted to get a lot of people in to take notes and study and see what was going on or what. But it was basically like 1 or 2 main doctors and then a bunch of people like observing and seeing what's going on. So I kind of feel like it might be because it's a rare thing and they're teaching people, like the newer people, about these things. But they're checking my eyes, they're putting these drops in my eyes, they're doing all this, and then another set of doctors come and they check the palms of my hands and my feet and everything. I had doctors come in and check my throat, check everything, and then, whew, the worst one is they had to check my genital region to see if the rash had gone there, and sadly, yes, the rash had gone there. But this was the most amount of people that came into the room. Guys and gals, like, it felt like there was at least 8 to 12 people in a semicircle around my lady bits. Just out in the open, everybody. Admission is free, just come take a look, everybody. This is what's going on, and it was just, it didn't feel very comforting or it's just no. I did not enjoy that part. And also, as I had mentioned earlier, I was on 8 medications, and because Stevens-Johnson syndrome is typically an allergic reaction to a medication, which it was for me, we had to stop all of them. Cold turkey, stop all of them until they figure out which one it is, because they're not going to risk continuing to put this into my body if they're not 100% sure which one it is. And most of these medications were mental health related medications, and I had recently had some seizures, so an anti-seizure medication. And so when you just abruptly stop things like that, you don't do so well. So my mental state was all over the place, on top of the fact that I have a fatal condition, on top of I am in a place that I've never been in before, and doctors are just, hello, what's going on? And it was a lot, and I was up and down and all over the place, and I was just, holy crap. And on top of that, I was being given oxytocin, like Tic Tacs, because this rash doesn't feel good. It's not a fun experience at all. And I had been to the hospital a few times, like, and so my arms, where they usually give you IVs, was not, they didn't want to keep poking at all those spots again, so they ended up putting it in my hand. And another fun fact about me, because there's not enough wrong with me, I'm allergic to adhesive, so they can't use a tape to secure it, because I get a rash. And I've got enough rash, I don't need no more. And so they put it into my hand, and then they had to wrap it as well as they could without adhesive, and then like adhesive over that. And so every time I move my hand, I can just feel it just, you know, doing a little wiggle waggle around. And they had to change the settings a lot on the speed that the fluids were coming in, because I could feel it, because I don't know if it's because it was my hand or what the heck it was, but I could feel every time that it came in, and it hurt. It hurt. It was like a pulsing. I could feel it coming in, and oh, I still remember what it feels like, and it just, oof, no. So they had to keep adjusting that, and they were giving me tons of fluids and medication. I had like prescription level anti-itch stuff. I had prescription prescription eye drops, prescription other ointments I had to put on my skin, and like everything. Like, this was crazy. Like, I had like a whole care package of bull crap of prescription level to be treating all of this that's going on. And then they were trying to figure out which medication it was. They figured out that it was the anti-seizure medication, and they had to figure out what they were going to do about that, when they could start me on some other of my medications, because I was like, when can we get me some of my like stabilizing medications, because I am not stabilized, and I need some assistance here, because I'm just not doing very well. And as I said, with this disorder, what happens is, disorder, I don't think this is a disorder, with this thing, you get this rash, and what happens is the rash blisters, and when it blisters, your skin, the term that they use is it sloughs off, which means your skin just falls off. And so you become really prone to infection, and that's how you die, because like really prone to infection. Like, it does not take anything. That's why you get put in the burn unit and you're treated like you are patient A of Ebola. And if it gets into your eyes, you can go blind, it can cause permanent damage. Like, all these parts of your body that it goes to can do permanent damage. So I'm not feeling very good about this. Here's a few more pictures of how I was periodically taking pictures of my rash every day so I could keep track, because when you have a rash covering your entire body, it's kind of hard to tell, does it look better today, does it look worse today, how it's doing. So I was taking pictures of it like every single day until I was dismissed, this isn't a class, till I was discharged from the hospital. And here's a couple pictures of that. So I was taking pictures every day to see better, worse, what's going on here, and you can see that that just does not look like a very fun situation to be a part of. And they eventually got everything squared away, figured out. I got sent home with all this prescription anti-itch, anti-dying, no, but prescription stuff and medications to take and all of these things. Discontinued the medication that was causing that, and putting into my charts that I am allergic to that, which, really fun fact, I have been on 3 anti-seizure medications and I can't remember which one is the one that gave me Stevens-Johnson syndrome. That should be really important information to remember, but it happened really fast, and in that part of my life I was changing medications all the time. I don't know what they were trying to do to me, but it didn't go well. So I went home, I still had some of the rash, but it eventually cleared up and I was okay. So, moral of this story is, when you get prescribed medications, which I already do this, and I just, you never know, always read, go online, type in blah 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 blah, whatever the medication, side effects. There is the site that I prefer to use, I'm not sponsored, but the site that I find is the best one for me is drugs.com. It'll tell you interactions with caffeine, with different drugs, with, you know, all sorts of things, with foods and everything. It'll tell you, like, common side effects, more rare-ish side effects, and the very rare side effects. And so you can really look at that, because whenever I take a medication, I would always look at those things, because my life, I don't know what it is, but I'm always the special rare case that has the weird thing happen that everybody's like, that like never happens. So I've always done that. And I've been on a medication before that they said, if this happens, if you get this is Stevens-Johnson syndrome, come in right away. But that's not what this medication said, so I don't know. But check those really rare side effects. Just give it a little look-see, because you never know. Because as they are very rare, you know, it happens to some people. Make sure you always check your medications, because a little pamphlet that they send with you after you pick up your prescription is really basic stuff. It tells you how to take it, it tells you the common side effects, and it'll give you like one, go see your doctor if blank. But this website will tell you the 100% of what you need to do. So make sure you always check that stuff. And if you think something's up and you go to a doctor and they say something's not up, but you really think something's up, like, listen to your instincts, because doctors are doctors, and like, they're not like on TV where they're all knowing of everything. So sometimes you gotta follow your intuition. There have been so many times I've gone to the doctor and they said no, and it ended up being yes, and I was like, I told you, because I'm not trying to say I'm smarter than doctors. I'm just saying, like, I know what's going on with my body sometimes, and sometimes they just kind of want to get people out of there. They don't see these things happen to people off, like Stevens-Johnson syndrome. very, very rare. Like, this is a super rare thing that happens to people. I wouldn't be surprised if the hospital I went to has never seen that before in their life. So obviously they went with what makes more sense, that is more common than actually trying to delve in and actually see. So yeah, that is the time that I could have died, because I kept getting sent home and my case got really severe before anybody cared. So make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, because I'm thinking about doing some more story times. This is technically my first story time, but if you go on my channel, I have a playlist of rants, because I used to like to rant about things on here. Technically those are like story times, but I titled them as ranting as opposed to story time. So this is my first story time. And leave some comments below. Let me know about your doctor experiences. What have you gone to the hospital for? Have you ever had something like this happen to you? Like, I want to know about it. I get excited reading other people's experiences, so I feel like I'm not just crazy and alone and like I'm just like the chosen one of bad luck. So yeah, that's about everything for you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.